Hi VC, welcome back to another Marky-mark video. It's been ages, feels like it's been ages, a couple of months since my last video. I've been really busy with family, busy with work, and life just seems to get in the way of music. I don't know. I've got some really exciting stuff to show you that I've kind of been hanging on to, waiting for the right opportunity, and also some really good CDs. I've been buying a lot of CDs recently. Just recently I bought on vinyl Charles Mingus Tijuana Moods, and I was so disappointed in the quality of it. Well, actually it had a lot of problems with it, so I ditched it and bought the CD, which is just in the background and hopefully won't get picked up. Very happy with this. I think actually this might be my favourite Charles Mingus album from 1962. If you've got Mingus and Black Saints and a Lady, you'll love this. Isabel's Table Dance is just one of my favourite tracks on this, with this incredible just an incredible cultural feel to it. That's wonderful. I've also been watching a lot of Netflix and the series Narcos, kind of about the Tijuana drug cartels, etc. So it's kind of been listening to this and thinking about the series on telly. Anyway, yes, I digress. Fairly recently I popped into a local charity shop and got chatting to the guy who runs it or manages it, and he was telling me about the BBC selling off all their vinyl archives, and the fact the charity had managed to purchase a tiny selection of vinyl from the BBC. And usually I think these are records that the BBC acquired over 30, 40 years, I think, and played them on the radio and then archived them. And I think they've sold all of them. I think apparently there was like 1 million records, up to 1 million records. I don't know how true that is, but that was the rumour. But I picked up this. This is Leroy Vinnegar Quintet, and it's on Contemporary, and it's from the archive. It's a stereo, but what's really interesting about the BBC, what they did, let me show you, because I thought this was fascinating, because I'm a geek, a complete geek. What the BBC did with most of and I've got a few and I'll show you, but this in particular, they would run these little eyelets, these metal lined eyelets, into the sleeve, and then when they played the record, they obviously put the record back and then archived it in a storage facility, ready to be taken off again. But obviously that was the way they were stacked in there. Quite interesting. The record itself is perfect. Possibly played maybe 1 or 2, 3 times. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'll try and show it. I gave it a good clean because it was pretty filthy. Mint condition, really. And what the BBC did was to rehouse these into their own inner sleeves, like a circular, cosy fitted inner sleeve, which I thought was crap, because I did hear along one of the forums, I did hear that they'd used a PVC material and a lot of their stuff was getting mottled. You know, you're getting the degassing on the vinyl from the PVC inner sleeves that they use, but this one has escaped it really well. Sounds absolutely amazing. And also, I'll try and show this, but you'll see the stamp in the middle of the label. Gramophone. BBC Library. I think that's fantastic. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So I gave them all a good scrub, the ones I could get my hands on, and then reline them, just because I wanted to get them. They cleaned up beautifully, absolutely beautifully. So that's Leroy Walks Again. Sounds fantastic. I mean, I'm playing the double bass, so and then this fantastic lineup here. Teddy Edwards on tenor, sax, Freddie Hill trumpet, Victor Feldman or Mike Melvoin on piano, Victor Feldman or Roy Ayres on the vibes, Milt Turner on drums. And it's just that I'm really happy with this. This is my favourite of all the ones I bought. Anyway, let's move on. We've got quite a few here. What I thought I would do is show you the jazz albums that I picked up, and then I'm going to just show you at the end, if you're still awake, the non-jazz stuff that I've picked up, because I've sort of dabbled a little bit of rock and a bit of modern stuff as well, and I'll come to that anyway. Let's move on swiftly. Another one from the BBC archives is Chico Freeman's Beyond the Rain. I've been wanting to get my hands on this for ages. Oh, I love Chico Freeman. This is from the BBC archive as well. If you haven't listened to it, it's one of Chico's best, in my opinion. And I will admit, I kind of messed up the cover. Look, what I'd like to do is, when I get an old record, I'd like to try and restore it. So I'll give the record a good scrub on the project several times, give it a good clean using deionized water and a solution, vinyl clear solution to scrub, using a toner a goat brush to give it a good, and I might do a video about how I do that. And I also like to clean the covers, because the covers have got sometimes adhesive, they've got maybe a little bit of filth and muck after 30-40 years. Anyway, on this particular album, I did try and get off a sticky substance off the top of Chico's eye here, and I realised I was removing some of the print. Idiot. What an idiot. But anyway, it's VG Plus. I mean, it's a fantastic record. Really pleased to have got this as my collection, my Chico Freeman collection. It's got the wonderful Elvin Jones on there. I've got another Elvin Jones to show you in a minute, but fantastic. Another one from the BBC archives. Again, this has been given the ringlet treatment, so it was stacked with all the other BBC vinyl archives. Art Pepper's No Limit. I'm not going to get every single record out, but I just couldn't resist this cover, and once I'd Spotified it, I went back and bought it. I mean, it was 25 quid. It's about right. Gorgeous condition, probably played once or twice. I mean, the vinyl itself is spotless, but I just love the artwork on this. It's fantastic. Art Pepper's No Limit on Contemporary. Highly recommend. Another one from the BBC archives, Art Pepper's The Trip. I think they must have bought maybe the first section of the auction was all A's, Art Pepper. I don't know, just guessing. But this is fantastic. There's a lovely lineup on here. Art Pepper, George Cables, David Williams on bass, Elvin Jones again on drums. But there's a wonderful little essay on the back here from Art Pepper talking about his time in San Quentin and when he was in prison for, I mean, he was in a terrible state, really. He was in a terrible state. He went to prison a few times for drug offences. And there's a wonderful essay talking about how he wrote this, thinking about his experience in prison. And yeah, I think this is fantastic. One of my favourite art peppers, actually. Really, really like that one. This one, another one. This is from another one from the BBC archives that I picked up again. Art Pepper, Quintet, Smack Up. I mean, this the title of this album is humorous in itself. Smack Up. Poor chap, very troubled. As much, you know, much of the jazz artists of the day were hugely troubled. Huge shame, really. I picked this up for £15, and it's, again, I mean, it's been played a couple of times. Sounds fantastic. From 1962 on Fantasy. It's a European copy. Just fabulous. Fabulous. I like to keep the price sticker on the outer cover, so if I can try and peel it off the album cover, I'll put it on the outer cover, just as a kind of archive, really, just as a record of what I've paid for it. Lovely essay on the back here from Leonard Feather. So I'm really stoked to have got this as part of my collection. Now, moving into 2025, and I couldn't resist this when I heard it, and I like Andrew Hill. I love, is it Passing Ships? I think it's Passing Ships. There's a few Andrew Hills that I really like. But when I heard this was going to come home with me. I don't think I've showed this before, so I apologise if I have. It's Grassroots. Album cover looks amazing. Yeah, just wonderful. It just signifies why Andrew Hill wrote this and what it means about growing up together and the sort of struggle. I can't get my words out today. You know what I mean? Growing up together, grassroots, growing up and just taking just the whole black and white thing, civil rights movement. I think he was just trying to sort of bring it out in this album, and it's a beautiful album. It swings, it's really well. It's not too avant-garde-ish, but it's got the lovely trademark Andrew Hill melodies coming right through it. Recorded 1968, and it's a killer lineup. I mean, as soon as I saw the lineup, actually, that was, for me, that was the Lee Morgan on trumpet, Booker Irvin on tenor sax, Ron Carter on bass, and Freddie Waits on drums. And I think this might be my favourite Andrew Hill, next to Passing Ships. He's Passing Ships. But yeah, Tone Poet, cut by Kevin Gray. And that came out this year. Highly, 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 highly recommend this one. Very much so. Get your hands on it. Don't think I showed this, but apologies if I have. I don't really kind of look at all my previous videos, but I look at my Discogs and work out what I have and haven't shown. And sometimes some of you say, Mark, you've already shown that one. It's fine. I think it's fine. It's Hank Mobley's Roll Call. My word, he is such an underrated performer. Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, Wynton Kelly on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, Art Blakey on drums. I mean, you've got an absolute stellar cast of artists on this. And again, for me, a flawless record. Tone Poet Classic Series, cut by Kevin Gray, and just incredibly happy to have this in my collection. Hank Mobley deserves a lot more credit than he actually gets. think he's amazing, and I think this is an incredible. This could be my top 10 at the end of the year, actually. Fantastic. Now I was at my local second-hand, it's not second-hand, record dealer down the road. Went to have a chat, see what I think I was picking up a record, actually, one of these records which I'll show in a minute. Next, I think I'll show it next if I can. And guy said, Mark, this has just come in. Do you want to have a look at it? And I was like, it's Art Blakey. I was like, yeah, go on then. So I bought it blind. Glad I did. Art Blakey's Soul. I just love that front cover. I mean, it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. From 19... I'll get this right in a minute. Let's get it out. Let's break it out. It's on Fontana. Let's get it out. It's absolutely spotless. Look at that. You can see that. Absolutely spotless. From first published in 1959, but I think this is a much later reissue. Sounds fantastic. Recorded live, I think. Benny Golson on tenor sax, Lee Morgan on trumpet, Bobby Timmons on piano, and we've got a lot of the classics on here. Moanin', Blues March. Perfect. Lovely tip-on jacket. And actually what's nice is this, they've got this old sticker, probably from where it was originally bought. Harlequin Records. Is that right? Can you see that? Harlequin record shops. And there's quite a few of them all around Soho, Moorgate. So this must be a Harlequin. I don't know if Harlequin's still going. Maybe in the comments you could let me know if you know. But yeah, sold. I just love that. Art Blakey having a little kiss on the cheek from this lady. Wonderful. Let's put that back. Great stuff. Really good. It's great to find records that are in good condition. I don't usually do a lot of second-hand stuff. I don't know. I tell you what, I have been finding a lot of new records have just been rubbish. They've needed to go back, or quality-wise has been dire. I reckon 1 in 3 records, in my opinion, for me, are defective with infill stitching and problems, warping. Maybe it's the heat. Maybe it's just the poor quality control. Anyway, let's keep going. Talked about Elvin Jones earlier on. Elvin Jones, New Agenda, fabulous, absolutely great. This came from my dealer down the road. This is from 1973. Yeah, great stuff. Good solid album from Elvin Jones, New Agenda. Really like it. And I picked this up. This is really worth a listen. David Murray, Children. I love that cover. Amazing. Recorded in October, November 1984 at Vanguard Studios. This is avant-garde-ish, but it's chaotic, but it's really pleasing to listen to. A little bit, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit like Ornette Coleman, I think. But one of the artists on here is James Blood Ulmer, blues, jazzy, electric guitar musician. I love James Blood Ulmer, so that drew my attention. So I had to Spotify it, listen to it, and then I just thought, yeah, I'll have that. It was only £15, but I just love the cover, and it's a lovely listen. I'll put that on later on. In fact, last night, I will say, last night I was really, I had a bit of a moment to myself. It's been a really tough week. So I was talking to my son about Japanese jazz and stuff. So I'll very quickly show you these. I've shown these before in a previous video back along. Ryu Fukui, Scenery, and A Letter from Slowboat, half speed mastered from We Release Jazz. Get your hands on both of these if you can, because they are both an amazing listen. They are gorgeous and great quality. So yeah. Right, Mark. Carry on, carry on. Don't know if any of you watched Glastonbury. I mean, a lot of you are UK, a lot of you are from the US, Europe, people who reach out to me. But I think you've got about a week left before the BBC iPlayer removes all the Glastonbury coverage and the Glastonbury Music Festival here in the UK. And one of the artists that I was blown away with was Marabou State. I thought that performance from start to finish was fantastic. I've got Marabou State Portraits in Colour, or Kingdoms in Colour, but I've got this. I had to get this. Sorry, this is Portraits. I had to buy this. You can still get this. This was one of the records I had to send back because it was crap. It was full of infill and just wasn't great. So, but this is absolutely spot on. This is a fantastic listen. Love Marabou State. They brought out a new album, which is a bit I think, but this is well worth a listen. Marabou State, Portraits. Yeah, the other album's called Kingdoms in Colour, I think. So, going back to the beginnings of my vinyl obsession, this crazy hobby, it was some records which my dad had given me that started me off. Some Beatles records, and before I could get my hands on, well, my dad was selling them, but before he sold all of them, he had some left. So what I've been trying to do is just buy back the Beatles albums that he had sold on, and I managed to do it at the charity shop actually, because I think this is one. I think this is one he had, but Magical Mystery Tour. Now this isn't. I think this is a reissue. I can't work out what year it is. There's no. Discogs has got very little information on this, but what this does have is absolutely stunning. A booklet with. I'm going to try and show this because it's. I mean, there's a booklet with amazing pictures of the band and the crowd. It's in absolutely amazing condition. I think it's late 60s. Look at that. Oh, just had to get it. And that was at the charity shop. It's Fiji Plus all the way around. Worth every penny. Really happy to get that. So then I went and bought... Had to get my hands on this, Abbey Road. It's an early copy. It's not a first pressing or anything, so it wasn't mega expensive. But it sounds gorgeous. And there's hundreds of variations of this, different types, different reissues, and apparently there's something to do with this version's got the drain. I think there's a little picture of a drain there. So for those Beatle vinyl geeks that talk about different variants of this album, something to do about the cropping of this picture, this very famous iconic picture. Anyway, love it. Very happy to have it in my collection. Running out of time. I'm gonna end this Marky-mark video with a record which even my vinyl dealer chap down the road was surprised. He says, "Oh, Mark, I'm surprised you bought that. That's not your style." And I said, "No, I had to get it. I saw it was second hand, reasonably priced. But it brings back so many memories from late 80s, early 90s. But it's, it's this absolute classic, Rage Against the Machine debut album. The number of times, this is from 1990, obviously 1992, but this is a reissue from, I'm not sure, early 2000s, I think. I've got so many memories of listening to this, working out, running to it, and it's an incredible album full of power, rage. It's just great. Zach De La Rocha on vocals. I mean, I don't think there's anybody with the same veracity of vocals as Zach. So very happy to get this. This is on Legacy, Sony Music. I don't know where it was printed, where it was pressed, but yeah, great album, great album. We could do with a really high quality audiophile version of this. I don't believe we have one, but yeah, I couldn't afford a first pressing. It would be cost a fortune. I said to the record guy, I said, who I know quite well, because he's got a huge record collection of rock and heavy rock, and I said, "I bet you got a first pressing of this." And he's like, he smiled and smirked and said, "Yeah, of course." So anyway, that's it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for bearing with me, and hopefully I can do another video soon when I've got a chance and things kind of calm down a bit. But yeah, take care everyone. All the best. Bye-bye.